Well, there you go, guys. It finishes at St James's Park. Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 2. And this is a massive, massive kick in the balls. I'm so gutted for the lads tonight because, you know, one thing we can't say about Newcastle United tonight is that they didn't give it their all. They gave it everything. And again, we end up the bridesmaids. And I know that's very frustrating for a lot of Newcastle United fans tonight. These big games that we go into, we just don't seem to be able to come through. But we have to remember that this is a huge, massive learning curve for us. Massive. And, you know, we are on a steady climb up this mountain, and it's a big, big mountain that we need to climb. And unfortunately, we took a little bit of a stumble tonight, going out of Europe altogether. At halftime, we were all thrilled with the way things were going. We were playing brilliantly. We were winning the game through a fabulous strike from Big Joe. We were in the Champions League. We were going into the next stage of the Champions League, and then, you know, it's all been taken away from us in the next 45 minutes. I thought we were by far the better team tonight. But again, the mentality of these teams in Europe, you have to remember, we are playing against the best teams in Europe. And those teams know how to play these games. And AC Milan are one of the best. You know, they looked down and out at many stages during the match as if they were out. You know, they'd given up. They weren't at the races, certainly in the first half, or so we thought. But they make some tactical changes, they make some substitutions, and bang, suddenly 1-0 goes to 2-1. And we've seen it happen a few times. You know, Liverpool earlier in the season, it happened where we just didn't see the game out. It's frustrating for me because we had opportunities tonight to put the game to bed, and we didn't. And that's been a big, big problem for Newcastle United, not just tonight, but in previous times as well. It's been a problem, and it's still a problem for me. Some players are not up to the challenge. We know that. But you can't change a full team in a couple of transfer windows, especially when we're hampered by FFP. And that is a big thing for me. FFP, we're completely hampered by it, and it has stopped us in a way from you know, becoming the giant too quickly. And, you know, teams are very worried about Newcastle United moving forward. They are very, very worried about us. It's obvious, but unfortunately tonight it just wasn't to be. I thought some of the players were magnificent tonight. Jamal Lascelles, for me, his distribution was absolutely sensational tonight. Brilliant. You know, there wasn't many players I can point out on that pitch that let us down. I mean, you know, everybody will have the say on Miguel Almiron, and I'm going to say it again now. I don't think he's good enough. I think he has patches he goes through where he'll have decent spells for 3 or 4 games, and then he'll be like he has been in the last 3 games. He does plenty running around, and one thing that you can never take away from Miguel Almiron is his effort. His effort is second to none. He will not give up. But his final distribution, or his play in the final third of the field, is rotten. It is rotten. And that proved tonight the chance he had in the first half, beggars belief as to why he just didn't stick his right foot out and guide it into the net from 1 yard. Yet he lets it come across his body. Yes, wonderful tackle from Tomori. Wonderful tackle. But he shouldn't have been allowed there, because if Miggy, it was coming to his right foot, just finish it with your right foot. But he tried to put it on his left and gave Tomori the opportunity to make that tackle. Now, he's done that in the last 3 games now. He's missed really, really easy chances against Everton, Tottenham, and now Milan tonight. And at this level, you have to score those chances. You have to. You know, Joe Linton missed a couple in both the Dortmund games. He'll look back on them and think, wow, have they gone in? But listen, we've done ourselves proud this season in Europe, all right? The Champions League, when everybody saw that group come out and thought, wow, you know, look at who we're against. 3 giants of European football. PSG, AC Milan, and Borussia Dortmund. Massive, massive teams. And we have competed in every single one of them. We have not given up. We have not been brushed aside. We've not been the whipping boys like some people thought we would be. We have done remarkably well. And you have to say hats off to the players, because this has not been an easy ride in the Champions League by any stretch of the imagination. We have worked our balls off constantly. And yes, some of the football hasn't been great. You look back to the Milan game at the San Siro, we were pinned back, but it was a warrior effort in defence to keep that at 0-0. And then we could have snatched that game at the end. You look to the PSG game in Paris, we were robbed by a penalty that should never have been given. And had that not been given, we would be in a very, very different scenario going into the game tonight. And I think everybody needs to just take stock. There's a lot of, certainly during our watch along, Match Day Live and, looking at social media, there's a lot of angry fans out there pissed off and saying, oh, this guy or the manager. People are mentioning Eddie Howe's substitutions tonight, and I do want to bring this up because I don't think there's anything else that Eddie Howe could have done. People are questioning and saying, oh, Gordon should never have come off. Anthony Gordon didn't train yesterday, so there was obviously a problem with Anthony Gordon. Either he's taken a knock or he's got a slight muscle strain, whatever it may be. And I'm hoping that in the post-match interviews that Eddie does, he can clarify that for us. Because if Anthony Gordon was fully fit and he took him off, then there is a problem. But if he's took him off because of the injury and put Isak on the left, there's nothing else he could have done. We've been hammering Eddie lately for his substitutions, saying he's got to make changes, he's got to do this, he's got to do that. He did it tonight. He made the changes that were glaringly obvious. Miley was dead on his feet. Lewis Miley played brilliantly tonight and made some excellent runs. And of course got an assist for the goal. But he was pagged. He couldn't keep going. He's played a lot of football for a 17-year-old kid. And he's playing at the highest possible level, let's not forget. This guy has done brilliantly. But I genuinely think that the weak part of Newcastle United is Miggy Almiron. And, I know Miggy's got his fan club out there, but I'm just being honest as a fan. I've pretty much had enough of it. He's not good enough. Just way short. He had opportunities tonight to cross the ball, and his crosses were dreadful. But, sometimes I think we play a little bit too much, especially on the right-hand side. Bruno comes in and we go into three and him and Trippier and Miggy are knocking the ball around to each other. And sometimes I think just fire the ball across. Callum Wilson is an out-and-out goal scorer in the 18-yard box, but we're not putting crosses in for him. And, I know people can say the same about Isak, but sometimes when the crosses do come in, Isak, when he's a striker, doesn't get there. He just doesn't. But tonight, when we've got a proper number 9 in the penalty area, we don't give it the cross the ball. And he's just not going to get on the end. Callum played well tonight. He was roughing up the centre-backs, which we know Callum can do and can do it very well. But overall, we have to look back on this campaign and say that we have been monumentally proud of this football club. Because they tried tonight. It didn't happen. We're out of Europe. It could have been very different, but it could have been isn't good enough. We're not there. But by God, it's been a learning curve. And by God, these players, they will have the hunger to get back into this Champions League because they'll have loved the ride they've been on. And again, they will know what to expect next time we go into the Champions League. It's a very, very disappointing result. I know everybody's hurting, including myself. I'm gutted because I thought tonight's performance, we really did deserve to stay in Europe. Whether that was going to be the next round of the Champions League or whether that was going to be, the Europa League. I didn't mind as long as we stayed in Europe. But that performance tonight, we deserved. We deserved to go through. But on the flip side of that, guys, this is the Champions League. This is the elite of European football. And matches can change like that. And that's exactly what's happened tonight. Newcastle United, for me, deserved something out of the game, but we've been bitten in the arse by a team who is very, very experienced in Champions League football. Knows not to panic, knows that the chances will come, and that has been the bottom line. When they have had chances, they've took them, and you can say that about the, certainly Dortmund. We didn't take chances, they did, and it's bitten us in the arse. But we look back to the Milan away game, the PSG away game, the way we defended like warriors. We've cried out for a team that just sweats blood and tears for this football club. And they've done that throughout the campaign in the Champions League. But there's certain positions that just aren't good enough for Newcastle United at the moment. but they will improve as time goes on. Eddie Howe will have learned a hell of a lot from this journey. A hell of a lot. If there's one thing about the substitutions, maybe Lewis Hall instead of Dan Burn, because he's more attacking. Dan Burn seemed to switch off and lose the Milan player for the second goal. Martin Dubravka didn't have a lot to do first half, but I thought second half, poor. Very poor. And please just go back and look. Rafael Leao's break on goal one-on-one. He doesn't come out to close the angle. Leao can go near post or far post. He went near post and obviously it hit the bottom of the post. Tomori's effort late on in the game that hit the post. He doesn't come out to close the angle down. You have to question these. There is elements that need to be improved and improved quickly, in my opinion. I think the goalkeeper is a problem right now. I think it's a problem position. I think Miggy's position is a problem. I think Callum, if he stays fit, can be a danger. I know he can. He put everything in tonight. Anthony Gordon, not 100%, definitely, but I'm happy with him. The midfield was great tonight. Joe Linton was a warrior. Joe Linton was everywhere tonight. He put it about. He did all he could. Bruno driving us forward. Lewis Miley making runs. You can't take anything away from them that they didn't try and get something out of this game. But we've just got to be a bit more sensible in certain positions on the pitch. We got caught out. We switched off twice and we've conceded 2 goals. Really disappointing. I have to say, though, Giroud's pass for the first goal, to see that pass in such a sort of clogged penalty box made that finish so much easier. Just a lovely pass. But that's the quality I'm talking about this, the elite level in the Champions League that you've got to be at. You have to be at that level. And, truth be told, we're not quite there yet. But I tell you what, we haven't half enjoyed the ride. You look at the away games the fans have had, the home games, just brilliant. And we want more of that as fans. But you can bet your bottom dollar that those players will want it as well. They will want to be back in Europe next year. So yes, no more European football for this season. But on the flip side of it, we've now got an opportunity where we can concentrate on Premier League and the Cups, and you never know what might happen. Because we're getting players back from injury. We're getting a fully fit squad, hopefully coming up after the Christmas period. Maybe a couple of new signings in January. And let's just go for this, because I still think there's a lot to play for this season. So yes, we can be a little downhearted tonight that we've gone out. However, there shouldn't be an overreaction, because we just need to learn how to close games out better in this elite level. But when you think of the teams that we've played against, you can't be anything but proud of Newcastle United right now. They've given everything they can. And, I'm sure that moving forward, these players will have had a hell of a ride, but a hell of a learning session as well. And we'll know for next year or the year out, whenever we're back in Europe, these players will know what to expect and know how to deal with it a little bit different. But so will Eddie Howe. And I think, there's going to be the mongers again coming onto social media, Eddie Howe out and all of this garbage. There's not much more Eddie Howe could have done tonight. Like I say, we've kicked off about subs and that, and it's by the by, because he couldn't do anything else tonight. The subs were fine, in my opinion. But we're out. We have to take it on the chin again. We have to regroup, and I'm sure they will. Once the disappointment disappears, go again at the weekend against Fulham, get 3 points in the Premier League, put this behind us as a learning curve, and go for something this season. We're still in the 2 cups. We're still in the league, chasing top 4. So let's just take a step back. Yes, we're disappointed, but there's still a lot more to play for. A lot more to play for. So let's be positive here. We've had a good ride. It hasn't quite happened, but there is still a lot to play for this year. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll be back at 11 o'clock in the morning with the latest news. And, of course, the match review will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night with me, Billy and Alex. And, of course, the player ratings as well. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new and you like what you see. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload any recorded videos such as this one, or we schedule our live shows. And also, before you leave the show, please do hit the thumbs up button. Very important that we keep the likes coming in. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Until then, good night, folks.